Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Florida.
Madam Chair, I have an amendment at the desk.
It is now in order to consider amendment number 4, printed in Part C of House Report 11651. For what purposes, gentleman from Florida, seek recognition?
To address my amendment on military construction.
Will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 4, printed in Part C of House Report number 116-51, offered by Mr. Dunn of Florida.
Pursuant to House Resolution 357, the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Dunn, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Florida.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I yield myself such time as I may consume, and I want to say thank you also to Congresswoman Granger. My amendment increases the military construction funding in the bill for the Air Force and the United States Marine Corps. Last year, Hurricanes Florence and Michael destroyed 2 of our nation's premier combat and training bases. Camp Lejeune in North Carolina sustained $3.6 billion in damages due to Hurricane Florence. Lejeune is critical to our nation's defenses, not only for the Marines, but also it is home to a major Navy command and a Coast Guard command. The base's unique access to 2 deep water ports allows for rapid seaborne deployments. It also has vast amounts of land and deep training resources. This is what makes Camp Lejeune the home of the Expeditionary Forces in Readiness. Tyndall Air Force Base in my district in Florida took a direct hit from a Category 5 Hurricane Michael. Tyndall is home to the largest F-22 base in the world. It is one of only 2 Air Force bases that has immediate access to the Gulf Test and Training Range, a range that is like no other in the world. Our airmen are able to train and test on next-generation supersonic and hypersonic aircraft and weapon systems in a live-fire environment. A few months ago, President Trump came and he ordered the Air Force to make Tyndall a 5th-generation Air Force base outfitted with 3 squadrons of F-35s and a squadron of MQ-9s. This rebuild will cost $2.7 billion in military construction alone, and it will make Tyndall the base of the future. My amendment will raise MILCON funding in fiscal year 19 up to $500 million for the Marine Corps and up to $1 billion for the Air Force. This is only a down payment to help these services continue on their rebuild. This funding is crucial for our military. Our nation's defense is in crisis. Our readiness will continue to deteriorate if we do not provide the necessary funds to our armed services immediately. I'd like to make a couple of other points that sometimes seem to get lost in our discussions. The federal government knows that it self-insures the military. So from the moment the storms occurred, it was 100% certain that we were going to need a disaster supplemental. By law, the funds cannot come from FEMA. They cannot come from HUD. They must be directly appropriated by this Congress. Hurricane Michael was a unique storm. It was more like a tornado than a hurricane, but it was a tornado that was 80 miles wide and 120 miles deep. In my district, we have 3 million acres of land that is crushed. By way of comparison, in 2017, 3 hurricanes affected Florida: Hermine, Maria, and Irma. 50 counties were affected. Just the county that Tyndall Air Force Base sits in has already cleaned up 30 million cubic yards of debris, compared with less than 3 million in those 50 counties in 2017. Nobody in America, in the history of America, has ever seen this much debris. We estimate we are 20% of the way through our debris cleanup, 20%. And we've done more than anybody's ever seen in history. What are we going to do with these bases? Well, we're going to rebuild them. Of course we're going to rebuild them. We love our military, and we need our military. And I have never been more proud of any group than I have been of the airmen at Tyndall and the job that they've done to stand that base back up. They already have the 1st Air Force headquarters up and running, and that's air defense for all of North America. and we're ready to take back the F-22 training mission. I'm proud to say that the Tyndall has done a great job rebuilding, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman